Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's topic is from Advanced Topics in Project Management, Part 4, Contracts. Please, wear a mask to protect yourself and others. Keep social distancing. Wash your hands with the sanitizers when and where it's required. So let us start the topic contract. Project management contracts are legal agreements between you and your customer or between two or more parties. You select which contract best suit the project and negotiate the terms. The contract spells out the duties of each party while the contract is in force. The contract terms can be fixed or fluctuate as your actual costs change. As we know that every day many projects and infrastructure works are undertaken across the world. These projects can be any type ranging from software, construction, telecom to scientific and oil and gas. Every project has stakeholders or clients and vendor, seller, supplier in common. In other words, every project is initiated by an organization which should be supported by suppliers for the various needs of the procurement. In project procurement management, these two parties are generally termed as buyer and the seller. The agreement between the two is called the contract. Contracts are an essential part of procurement management. Since formal, it creates a legal binding between the buyer and the seller. Contracts are necessary for project management as they provide relief on either side. It is by managing the risk involved in procurements. A contract is required to share and bear the individual's responsibilities in completion of the project. This is more so in larger and complex projects. Good procurement practices helps the corporates to increase their profitability. So if any one of the parties mentioned in the contract agreement wants to make changes or add new clauses in the agreement, then it has to be done with the connection or concern of the other party as well. See, when we are considering about the contractual process, project manager, he is the person who leads the team that is responsible for achieving the project objectives. Based on the authority level, the project manager performs numerous roles. Contract manager, the contract project manager or simply contract manager plays a very critical role for an organization. He or she manages contracts throughout the projects and their life cycle. On many occasions, they also play the role of a liaison person between the companies, employees, vendors, and customers. He or she creates the contracts repository and is solely responsible for maintaining all the contractual records. The company uses these records for their projects, which finally become part of record management. Some of the key responsibilities of contract manager like draft, develop, negotiate and execute the contract, create policies and procedures to the contract and ensure effectiveness. A liaison person and a contract facilitator manage and close the contract throughout the project duration, creates a contract repository and updates periodically. Elements of a legal binding contract. Normally, contract, as the term specifies, is an agreement between two parties in general. In project management, it's a formal agreement between the buyer and the seller, more often refers to as the supplier. The agreement is made to procure goods and services required for the agreed project. This document needs to be prepared by the project manager or the contract project manager. It is in coordination with the procurement manager during the project planning phase. It has to be documented as a procurement management plan, which is a part of the primary project management plan. So some of the guidelines for considering while deciding on procurement contract, like complexity of procurement, location of procurement, availability of suppliers and contract, local governing regulations. So here for legal binding, we can tell that there will be an offer from both sides, and thus this offer must be genuine. There must be acceptance from both sides, and it must be a willing acceptance. There must be equal exchange of values between both parties, must be signed by an authorized personnel, and the work in the contract must be legally allowed work. The types of contract. Most of the contractual relationships are broadly classified into three categories: fixed price contract, cost reimbursable, and time and material contract. So what are they? The cost reimbursable contract is time and material contract is very rarely used. So fixed price contract. In this category, the contract involves a fixed price for a defined product or service or the result to be supplied or provided. And these types of contracts are recommended when the scope of the service is completely defined and final. Some of the subtypes of fixed price contracts, like firm fixed price. The prices of the goods and services are set and never subjected to change unless the scope is changed and agreed mutually. Fixed price incentives, fixed price incentives fee. The price ceiling is set and the seller needs to perform and fulfill the contract requirements within that price. All the cost above the price ceiling are the responsibility of the seller. Third one, fixed price and economic price adjustments. It is suitable when the contracts are executed in different countries and payments made in a different currency. Also, if the seller's work lasts for few years, for example, like 3 to 5 years, the contract is fitting. The second one, cost reimbursable contract. This type of contract involves cost reimbursement, that is payment to the work done for the cost incurred during completion of the contractual job. It is also with a predefined fee representing seller profit. So the subtypes are cost plus fixed fee. The seller gets the allowable cost agreed in the contract, and the seller also receives a fixed fee payment which is calculated as a percentage of initial estimated project cost. Cost plus incentive fees. The seller gets the reimbursement for all the costs incurred on performing the work agreed in the contract. Based on the final cost incurred, greater or less than the initial planning cost, both the buyer and the seller share their expenses. Cost plus award fees. This type, the seller gets his or her legitimate reimbursements, but a majority of the fees is received upon meeting some technical or subjective performance that is preset in the contract. Then comes time and material contracts. This is a hybrid type of contract combining the features of fixed as well as cost reimbursable contract. This is very often used when contractual requirements is not known or prescribed. Also, this type of contract is suitable for acquisition or hiring of experts, project staff required for a particular period. The next topic is trust in project management. In the field of project management, much attention has been directed towards the various stages of team development: forming, storming, norming, and performing. While these stages are defined and described in detail and reflected in a Guide to Project Management Body of Knowledge 5th edition as key areas to understand in order to be a successful project manager, there are additional layers to explore in each of the phases. The focus of this book or this area, this part, will be on the performing stage and the importance of trust among team members in achieving the pinnacle of high performing team. Trust is a critical piece of team building as well as team performance. In the absence of trust, team members are unwilling to speak their minds, voice their opinions, volunteer ideas, or ask questions. They will hide their true feeling and be unwilling to help others. These are all behaviors that will damage the creation of business networks or ecosystems and hinder the building of high performance teams. Trust is not easy to describe, and there are certainly not shortages in the attempts to define the concept. According to Merriam-Webster, trust is an assured reliance on the character, ability, strength, or truth of someone or something. The functions of trust is to enable people to rely on others. For a project manager and a team member, it means working effectively in a collaborative environment where ideas and knowledge are shared openly. There are different types of trust. Just as there are multiple definitions of trust, there are various viewpoints of trust, like objective credibility. It's a personal characteristic that reflects the truthfulness of an individual. Attribution of benevolence, a form of trust that is built on the examination of the person's motives and the conclusion that they are not hostile. Third one, non-manipulative trust, a form of trust that correlates to a person's self-interest and the predictability of a person's behavior in acting consistent in that self-interest. High cost of lying, the type of trust that emerges when person in authority raise the cost of lying so high that people will not lie because the penalty will be too high. According to a survey conducted by Canadian Management Center and Ipsos rate, 61% of employees don't trust their senior leaders. Some of the behaviors of trusted leaders from around the world: demonstrate respect, talk straight, differentiate right from wrongs, create transparency within the team, focus on improvement instead of criticizing, clarify expectations, confront reality without being biased, show loyalty, practice accountability at all levels, listen first, show loyalty, sorry, it's repeated, keep commitments, extend trust to all team members alike, and deliver the result. So the evidence of trust. How does a project manager know if there is trust on his or her team? There are signs that will indicate whether or not team members are operating on a foundation of vulnerability based trust. Okay, we have two different kinds of testing, that is predictive and vulnerability based testing. Some of these includes, but not limited, team members are eager and energized to share their thoughts and ideas. Individuals apologize for their mistakes. Members are willing to accept responsibility for their actions. Members embrace accountability. People engage in productivity conflict around ideas. Individuals are willing to admit they do not have all the answers. Team members openly and willingly ask for help from others, and people are willing to take risks and reveal information about themselves. So these are all the some of the evidence of trust. And there are some trust building behaviors. Although trust is an intangible quality, the ability to build trust is a teachable competency because it involves changing behavior, which is something within an individual's control. In the impactful word, a former CEO of Campbell Soup, Doug Conant, told that you cannot talk your way out of something you behaved your way into. You have to behave your way out of it. So the key behaviors that inherently build trust with team members include treating others as equals, maintaining consistency between your words and actions, working for the benefit of the team rather than for your own personal gain, acknowledging your inadequacies to team members, admitting your mistakes, apologizing when an apology is appropriate, maintain open communication, sharing of information, demonstrating genuine caring for others, and soliciting ideas and opinions and help from others regarding your idea of responsibility. Then comes multi-project environments. The most basic definition of multi-project environment is managing an environment in which people are working on multiple projects simultaneously. In such an environment, management has to deal with parallel projects with different deadlines and sizes, but with shared resource pool. Sometimes in your company, you need to manage parallel projects, which often leads to inefficient scheduling, employee overload, unnecessary increasing cost, quality problem. The right environment for multi-project management or program management will help you to remedy this and be more successful. Challenges in multi-project management. If you are working in a multi-project environment, you will be familiar with this challenge. You have to implement many projects parallel while drawing on the same resource pool. In addition, smooth functioning is hampered by the circumstances of the multi-project environment. Like, projects are implemented in different departments, resources from different departments need to be coordinated, the project's priority and strategic contribution can change, project costs have know how to respond to budget, some projects are interdependent, The project environment becomes more and more international. Reports requirements become increasingly complex. Decisions have to be made in a short space of time. Precise project information is required. The problems in multi-project management and their causes. It's a fact that the sheer number of parallel projects makes for regular surprises. This leads to the problem listing at the beginning, like rescheduling, resource conflicts, cost increases, variations in quality. And the reason for these problems vary, like missing overview of all projects and resources, wrong priorities for initiatives and projects, unrealistic planning of delivery dates and efforts, unprofessional management of the projects, wrong decision in the case of resource conflicts, improper closure and documentation of projects. If you succeed in reducing these problems or even removing them as far as possible, your projects will be more successful. The 7 success factors that will help you. 1. Provide for an overview of all projects and resources. Use your PMO for standards, processes, and methods. Prioritize initiatives and projects appropriately. Be strategic in your capability planning. Optimally support tactical resource planning. Ensure transparency of cross-project dependencies, and simply cross-project the budget planning and cost tracking. 9 strategies to manage multiple projects successfully. Learn how to manage a single project first. Develop a master plan and schedule. House your projects in one place. Delegate work. Decide on a resource allocation type. Avoid micromanagement. Review and balance the workload. Have regular check-ins with the team and manage expectations. That's all part. Hope you like the video. If you are having any queries, please write to me to my mail ID. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel for continuous support. Thank you.